92 to 95 FM, 810 medium wave, and on digital radio, BBC Radio Scotland.
The time now, 10 to 8.
Now, could a Downing Street affair during World War I have contributed to the unnecessary deaths of thousands of British soldiers? A new book delving into the life of Prime Minister Herbert Asquith suggests his obsession with a woman half his age distracted him to the point that he was incapable of making sound decisions during the war. It claims that Winston Churchill described Asquith's behaviour as England's greatest security risk. Well, Bobbie Neate is the author of Conspiracy of Secrets. She joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Bobbie, this sounds like a fascinating story. Tell us about this love affair. Who was the woman involved?
Well, it's quite an amazing story. Asquith was Prime Minister. He was 60-year-old. He had 7 children living in number 10, and he was having an affair with a young aristocratic woman called Venetia Stanley, 35 years his junior. The amazing thing is that how it got covered up was that Asquith was in his children's social circle. His eldest daughter was called Violet, who became later on Violet Bonham Carter. Violet was best friends with Venetia Stanley, and this is how he managed to cover it up, because every time he went to a political meeting, his daughter Violet went, and Violet took Venetia.
Oh, incredible. And it seems that, he wrote hundreds of letters to her as well. And do we know what was in those letters? Were there, anything relating to the war at the time?
Well, they were. Mm-hmm. That's the terrifying thing. He put on his letters, this is secret, very secret, or only for your own eyes. But he knew that Venetia kept the letters, and he told her what was happening in the War Cabinet. I mean, this is quite amazing. He told her about secret trips by Kitchener, dispatch of submarines to the Baltic. As Churchill said, it was a huge security risk.
And it seems, does it, that apart from the affair, there was also some evidence that perhaps he wasn't mentally stable at the time.
Well, again, coming up to the coalition in 1915, his letters reveal that he's basically saying that life is not worth living. I live for you. This is one of the letters. I live for you. Without you, life would lose all that makes it worth living. I love you more than life. Quite extraordinary revelations. And
this was all just before he formed the coalition government.
Yes. And the coalition government happened 4 days after Venetia finished the relationship. In those 4 days, Asquith was much more interested in trying to win back Venetia than trying to sort out the country's problems. And at the time of the coalition, he seemed like a completely broken reed. It's quite extraordinary that this hasn't come out before.
No, indeed. Within, liberal circles, amongst liberal historians, has there been an attempt, do you think, to try and keep this quiet?
I'm sure there has. I've got no doubt. I've got a lot of evidence there, and even Violet Bonham Carter asked Roy Jenkins, a key Liberal, to keep this under wraps and not to expose the letters in relation to the coalition.
And I believe that there's also a love child involved, and in connection to that, you've unravelled a very personal connection with this story.
Well, this is why this story is just so amazing, that, yes, my stepfather, Louis Stanley, was the illegitimate child of this affair.
Did you know this, before you started to delve into all of this?
No, not at all. I've done an awful lot of research, and everything fits in. It's like the last piece of a jigsaw puzzle. How I did it was that my stepfather was a very strange, secretive man, didn't allow us children to ask him questions about his own childhood, his own father. And so I think we were always rather suspicious. And he always talked of very famous names. And of course now I know they were politicians or connected to the story. And I put together home memories, his secrecy, with this research on Asquith and Venetia.
And you have proof then? That you're convinced?
Yes, absolutely convinced.
Incredible. What a remarkable coincidence. What a remarkable story as well. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us this morning. Bobbie Neate there, who's the author of Conspiracy of Secrets. Sounds fascinating.